streamers with little to no following and no number, there are a lot of us who struggle with their voice and it mattering, right? Because really a lot of us do this because we're like, we have a voice that should be heard, right? There's a bit of narcissism in all of us streamer folk. There's a bit of narcissism. We do this because we have a voice that we want to be heard. We want it to be heard. First thing that I wanted to go ahead and speak about, right? First thing that I wanted to go ahead and speak about is my 1 year anniversary on Twitch coming up. We are a couple of days removed, a few days removed from my first Twitch anniversary, right? June 8th, I started this Twitch journey with the idea of stepping into a space that I did not see many people like me in, right? Last year, around maybe March, April, I was looking in the gaming space as far as journalism goes, as far as coverage goes, as far as big name streamers goes, and I saw a distinct lack of melanin, right? A distinct lack of melanin. And that's not to say that there was none. We do have pillars, right? We got people like TBH, who's been out here, Khalif, I forget his last name, but he works with, I've seen him with Alana Pierce a lot of times. I believe he works for Xbox. Paris, working a lot with Xbox. Those names are there. There are some names, some prominent names, but they're few and far between. And I wanted something a little more. And I guess the reason is, there we go. And with that being said, I wanted to see black people succeed. I saw a distinct lack of melanin around, right? And I am black myself. I wanted to be the change that you want to see, right? That's always the case. Be the change that you want to see. And I saw the distinct lack of it. And so I said, I'm going to take every step to fill a void that I saw. Now, I'm extremely happy to say that coming into this community and looking around and becoming more familiar, I have gone ahead and met so many wonderful, magically melanated individuals that are trying to do this and trying to make this happen. But even they will tell you that in this space, we are the underdog, right? All the time. I have no problem with being the underdog. Comic books, professional wrestling, action movies, the underdog is the hero. The underdog is who you want to see succeed. And I'm fine with being in that role. I'm fine with being the people's champ, but you only become the people's champ when you work hard and you earn that, right? And I knew that this was going to be something that I was going to have to work hard and earn. And so from the very beginning, when I wanted to do this back around March, April of last year, I approached it with a plan. I approached it with a checklist almost, right? One of the first things that I went ahead and did, if I was going to be serious about this, is that I immediately signed up for a trial of Skillshare, right? Now I say a trial of Skillshare, I will let you know this is a trial of Skillshare. And the reason I say trial, and I really emphasize that, is because I was broke, flat, complete broke, right? There were a couple of things that I was able to invest in to get started with this, and Skillshare was not it. Luckily, we are in the information age, and I tell people this all the time. I signed up for a free trial, 2 free months on a promotion code using SkillUp's code, a game reviewer that I appreciate on YouTube. I signed up for those 2 free months and took classes on video editing, social media marketing, what it means to be a Twitch streamer, how to be successful in these situations, and then classes here or there on how to tell stories and what we are like this, and lessons on this digital age that we are in, right? And I think that gave me a huge advantage, along with watching videos from the Stream Doctor Harris Heller, Stream Teach, the Eric V, making sure that I take as much information in as I can in regards to doing this the best way possible. And by June of last year, I was ready to start. I went ahead, I started in June of last year. And the plan was to originally be an Apex streamer, right? An Apex streamer. I was a big fan of Apex Legends. I am a big fan of Apex Legends. My name is Mr. EMP because I'm a crypto main in Apex Legends. I make plays, right? But we kind of moved it to a bunch of other things. And I quickly realized that limiting yourself to a game or limiting yourself to one specific audience is not how you end up on the levels that these names that I watched are on, right? A niche audience is fine. I love a niche audience. I have a niche audience now, but if I wanted to be a voice, I needed my platform to be higher and higher, right? And so I wanted to step out and be a variety streamer and moved into that. And every resource that I've ever seen has always said, and I will always say, being a variety streamer is much more difficult. It is much more difficult because it is much more dependent on who you are and your ability to get your hooks into whoever it is watching immediately. But with that being said, there are rarely tasks that I'm not down to take, right? Especially if I want something. It's all about preparation, right? If you want to do it as smart as you can, as intelligently as you can, right? And so every resource said that being a variety streamer is going to be much more difficult. I respect that. I'm fine with that. If it's something I want, I'm prepared to go ahead and chase that goal, right? And getting here and looking around and participating in the community, meeting so many people, you realize that the world is much smaller with the advent of the internet than it ever has been, right? Well, we all knew that, right? But when I first started, I would play Resident Evil. I was playing Resident Evil 2 when I first started, and I would get viewers from all over the world, Croatia, Russia, Germany, Italy, people from absolutely everywhere that were interested in what I was doing as a broadcaster, and it put things quickly into perspective for me. It quickly made me realize that this platform is absolutely what you make of it, and every platform can be what you make of it, right? So when people say, oh yeah, I try to stay off of this section of Twitch because Twitch is a cesspool, or I try to stay off of this section of Twitter because Twitter is a cesspool, or this, that, and the third. All of these are tools for you to use, and what you make of it is absolutely up to you. The people that you interact with are going to paint your experience on that platform, and the type of person you are is going to attract the type of folk that you're going to ultimately end up interacting with. Being yourself can take you way further, can give you reaches to like I said, Croatia, Russia, Germany, and the like. You can reach out that far just by being yourself, right? And that was a lesson that I quickly had to learn being here on Twitch. And once I took that lesson in, it was a matter of just being like, what do and it's still a matter of finding out what I want to really do, right? When I reach out, I can reach out to all these places, Russia, Croatia, Germany, wherever. I can reach out to all of these places, but how am I going to touch once I go to reach? I know what y'all thinking, like, what, touch? No freaky guys, right? But if I'm reaching out towards you, I'm just making a gesture, right? But if I'm touching somebody, right, we're connecting. I can reach out to all these places, Germany, Croatia, Russia, but how do I touch the audience? No, freaky. Right? How do I touch the audience? And that's what I'm still looking to personally figure out, right? I think that right now, my mindset is that I can touch the audience personally through this revamped structuring, right? A restructuring of my content. So we're going to be on this talk shows and podcast section a bit more. We're going to be discussing things with the audience a bit more. We're going to be more candid with our feelings, with who we are, how we feel about certain things. And from there, hopefully, if we open ourselves up, people will walk in. Hopefully, this allows us to reach out and touch somebody, JVO. Hopefully. So that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at about a year into it. Your numbers don't match the amount of work you put in, by the way. Of course, numbers don't mean everything, but at the end of the day, you're worth those numbers. I thank you for that, JVO. I do appreciate that, in my opinion, at least. But this is the hard part about content creating, I guess. It's actually gaining the audience and having them stick around and convince them why they should be watching you. Right. It all comes down to value, JVO. The way convincing them why they should be watching you, that's building up value. And really, we want to have value from the moment that we step in and somebody steps into the stream. That's why you're always looking for how you're going to reach out and touch somebody, because how you touch somebody, that's your value, right? Or your best value, right? I guess I have value as an Apex player, right? I'm a pretty good Apex player, right? I have value as an Apex player, but is that my best value? Is that the foot that I want to put forward that I think is going to grasp people and make them stick around for my content? Maybe not. Probably not. If you can hone in on what your best value is, then you know what sort of content that you should put out. And from there, it's just a matter of doing it, which should be easy because it's what you're best at, right? And that's, again, coming to this conclusion, right? I had to do that for this to come together the way that this is, right? Sitting here talking on a podcast form. I didn't want to do it at first. I didn't think to do it at first until somebody just said, yo, you just run your mouth. Why don't you just do that? Why don't you're talking about how you're going to get big on video games and what game you're going to ride to the top. Why do that? Just be you. Do what you're best at, right?